people like me. You need people like me so you can point your f***ing fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news. Ow!
Okay, we'll start with this. It's official, set to go down in late March on the undercard of Valdez versus Wilson, set for 10 rounds in the women's minimum weight division. The undisputed championship will be contested between the two remaining champions at this weight, Estrada of the United States and Yokasta Valle of Costa Rica. A fight that I've talked about, a fight that I've covered several times here on the channel from several different angles. What's the holdup? Why had the fight not happened yet? As well as cross-comparing performances between common opponents, because Senicia and Yokasta, they share quite a few. Senicia Estrada sports a professional record of 25 wins with no losses, no draws, 9 recorded knockouts. The heavier puncher of the two. If you're familiar with these fighters and have seen them in action, you'll know that Senicia is the harder puncher. Even if they have the same number of knockouts on paper, don't let that fool you. There's more to boxing than what you see on paper. Yokasta Valle sports a professional record of 30 wins with 2 losses, no draws, 9 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 32 professional bouts. Characteristically prolific puncher, a busy fighter. She fought something like 4 or 5 times in 2022, 3 times last year, having last seen action in November of last year opposite the ring former champion Annabelle Ortiz. Senicia Estrada, comparatively not as busy as Yokasta in the last 2 years. She only fought once in 2022 as a result of the promotional issues she was having with Golden Boy. That's the year she migrated from Golden Boy over to Top Rank. She only fought once in 2022, 2 times last year, having last seen action in July of last year. She was benched the rest of the year due to an injury, but I still like her chances in this fight. I still have Senicia Estrada beating Yokasta Valle, and here's why. Senicia's a more adaptable fighter than Yokasta Valle. She can play the aggressor and the defender equally well, pot-shotting from the outside while she manages the distance, and that's what I think she's going to do with Yokasta. She's going to walk her into punches, she's going to set her up. She's going to bull and matador this thing. Don't misunderstand me. Yokasta Valle is a damn good fighter, a great fighter, but Senicia is just better all around. Yokasta's a bit more limited to closing the distance in order to get her punches off, her combinations. She's a busy fighter, very busy within a round. Though at her very best, she's a mid-range fighter. She likes to fight mid-range to inside, as opposed to Senicia, who's more adaptable. Yeah, she can fight mid-range too. She can fight mid-range to inside, or she can pot shot from the outside. This is what I mean when I say that Senicia is more adaptable, as well as being ambidextrous, seamlessly transitioning from orthodox over to southpaw. To use different angles, exploit different holes in the guard. Senicia Estrada is a very well-coordinated fighter. She can make herself a tricky target. It's for this reason I think Yokasta is going to struggle to get close to her. Struggle to get close enough to get off her combinations without getting walked into punches. Senicia is a very smart fighter. She knows how to condition her opponent to look for one punch so that she can land another. Out of either stance, she can condition the opponent to protect themselves against the jab so that she can land a straight to the midsection, a straight to the body. She's a very smart fighter. She's not just a great physical specimen. In terms of nuts and bolts boxing, she is superior to Yokasta Valle in every way. And it's not because Yokasta's a bad fighter. It's because Senicia's just better. Yeah. Better all around. Better on the inside. Yeah. Better on the outside. Better on the move whilst fighting on the fly, on her toes, managing the distance. Whereas Yokasta is really just limited to closing the distance, closing the gap, or trying to. Stepping into her jab to trying to get her combination combinations off, at times losing form when she does it. Whereas Senicia, she's a lot more well-rounded, a lot more coordinated, and balanced. She's a sharpshooter, whereas Yokasta, she's more of a Gatling gun, more of a scrapper that wants to mix it up mid-range to inside. And if she can, she's lacking in the defense department. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see that Senicia's strategy for Yokasta is similar to her strategy for Tina Ruprecht. What was a common opponent between them? Tina, an aggressive mid-range to inside combination puncher. She needs to get inside before she can do anything. Thus, Senicia chose to manage the distance against her, taking a half step back and picking her off as she was trying to come in. And bear in mind, Tina's got better feet, way better feet than Yokasta Valle. Yokasta at times leans over her lead foot, lunging in, pushing with her punches. She loses her form when she's throwing the combinations mid-range to inside, punching wider than Senicia Estrada, whose hooks are comparatively shorter and sharper. So like I said, I think Senicia is going to bull and matador this thing because she knows Yokasta's an aggressive fighter, likes to throw combinations mid-range to inside, but she's got leaky defense. Senicia's going to set her up, catch her on the way in, and mid-range to inside, Yokasta can't actually outdog Senicia anyway because Senicia's the stronger puncher with the shorter, tighter hooks. Better shot selection, better variety, more power. As much as Yokasta likes to mix it up mid-range to inside, she's also vulnerable there. She can be caught at least by Senicia. I don't know about a knockout, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Senicia score some knockdowns in this thing. I think Yokasta, she's going to take the assignment seriously as she can, but Senicia wins this thing. Senicia will win a points decision in March. When these two meet on the undercard of Valdez versus Wilson, I think Senicia will be crowned this division's undisputed champion.
That fight because of the people voted, and you should get what you voted for. Long story short, I'm in Vegas. I'm having a great time. I'm hanging out with Floyd. I'm not going to lie. Floyd's pretty influential. He's like, why would he do that? Why don't you fight Rolly for the belt and then fight Devin Haney? Gave me advice. I said, that makes pretty much sense. I said, but I told the people already I'm going to fight Devin. He said, some things change. I said, okay, basically is what he said. I'm paraphrasing here. It's a lot deeper than that, and there was a lot more conversation, but I'm going to save that. And then I made a quick decision to be like, okay, all right, Floyd, that makes sense. I'll go get another belt. I'll go get the WBO belt, which I was down to do.
You'll remember that after Devin Haney's performance against Regis Prograis effectively becoming a two-division champion, Ryan called him out and he said that he wanted to fight him. Then he suddenly decided to switch gears and go after Rolly instead. He came under fire for that. He was criticized for that. But according to him, he only did it under the advice, the counsel of Floyd Mayweather Jr. And whether Ryan wants to accept it or not, you're a Golden Boy Promotions fighter for the time being.
Yeah.
You're not at liberty to do whatever you want, no matter how much you admire Floyd or how influential he is.
Yeah.
See, what's going on here is Ryan Garcia, he doesn't get along with Oscar. He doesn't get along with Bernard. If he could, he'd leave Golden Boy Promotions, but for the time being, he can't because he's under contract. You palling around with Floyd Mayweather and going on 3 a.m. jogs with him, hanging out at basketball games and talking him up, talking about how great he is, that doesn't change your circumstances. That doesn't change that for now, you're under contract with Golden Boy and you fight for them. Don't lose sight of that when you're hanging around with Floyd and he willfully wastes your time, willfully gives you bad advice. You're saying that you switched gears. Yeah.
You're saying that you were going to go after Devin, but Floyd convinced you to go after Rolly instead. Just for Rolly to fight another PBC guy. Just for Rolly to end up fighting Isaac Cruz. It could be that Floyd wanted to waste your time deliberately. He knew he was giving you bad advice. He knew the whole time that Rolly was going to end up fighting Isaac. But he convinces you to stall your own plans so he can waste your time because whether you're aware of it or not, you're with the rival promotional outfit. You're thinking to yourself, why would Floyd want to do that? I mean, I just fought his other guy. I just fought Gervonta Davis. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
You fought Gervonta Davis on the PBC and Showtime side of things. That's where you fought him. And the only reason they let you is because they knew he would beat you. With Rolly, it's different.
Because Rolly sucks.
And he knows Rolly sucks. He knows that you might beat him if he lets the fight happen. He also knows that you've got a bigger name than Rolly. You've got more marquee value. When Rolly fought Javante, and when you fought Javante, the numbers were wildly different. With Rolly, Javante only did a little under 300,000 buys, but with Ryan, he did over 1 million. Floyd knows that.
Floyd knows that belt or no belt, Ryan is the A-side to Rolly.
So before he allows Ryan to use Rolly to further his own career, he will further the career of another PBC fighter, somebody on their own side of things.
Cruz.
Isaac Cruz. Why sacrifice Rolly, who's a limited fighter anyway? Sooner or later, he's going to get beat again. Sooner or later, somebody's going to take that title from him. Better it be one of their own guys than Ryan. He deliberately wasted Ryan's time.
You told Floyd that you're in the process of making a Devin Haney fight, and he redirects you to one of his guys, just for his guy to end up fighting somebody else. And you were the last to know. You found out when everybody else found out.
As far as you knew, you were still working on the Romero fight, you had a date in mind and all of that. And before you know it, you find out he's fighting somebody else. He played you. The reason he was able to is, irrespective of your little tiff, your little rift between you and Oscar and you and Bernard, you're still a Golden Boy Promotions fighter. You're still fighting under a rival banner on a rival platform. You can like Floyd as much as you want. You can love him, but those are the facts, and that's reality. That's how he sees you.
You're one of Oscar's boys. Even if you don't like Oscar, it still means what it means.
You're one of Oscar's boys, and he's not going to sacrifice one of his boys to Oscar's boys to go make money for Oscar. Ryan may have thought that cahooting with Floyd and sticking it to Oscar publicly by doing it might have given him the inside track on one or some of the other PBC fighters, the ones he wants to get his hands on, like Rolly, when in reality, so long as you're under contract with Golden Boy,
you're the enemy.
And that dichotomy could change if and when you become a network and promotional free agent, but until such a time,
you're the enemy.
He deliberately gave you bad advice, redirecting you to focus on one of his fighters just for his fighter to end up fighting somebody else.
Stifling your plans, wasting your time, and Golden Boy's.
Basically used Ryan's rift with Oscar and Bernard, his rift with Golden Boy, against him because he knows you guys aren't on good terms. He knows you don't get along, and he used that to give you a false sense of security. That he's gonna be your mentor. He's gonna give you advice.
This is what you should do, Ryan.
You thought you were backdooring Oscar, but Floyd was backdooring you. So now the story is that the talks are back on for a Devin Haney fight. As Ryan Garcia has declared, he is now back in negotiations to fight Devin Haney next for his WBC Super Lightweight World title. I don't want to say anything before it's signed, but we are back in talks. Devin will be destroyed, and his daddy's gonna help him up. That's what he's saying. And you know,
what?
This fight could fall apart. I mean, this kid yo-yos between negotiations, different fighters, ad nauseum.
This thing could fall apart. It could still fall apart.
Devin Haney hinted at an April fight date. I think it was April 20th, somewhere around there.
Okay.
I'm not as excited for this fight as I was the other. I actually liked the Rolly Romero fight a bit more than this one, and here's why. Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero, Isaac Cruz. All three of these fighters are limited fighters that have not proven themselves to compete at the same level as a Devin Haney. As young as he is, he's already been an undisputed champion at one weight, and he's a two-division champion overall. He's got a belt up there at 140 pounds, whereas these guys, they're a lot more limited. And two limited fighters makes for a competitive fight, whereas the discrepancy between a fighter like Ryan and a fighter like Devin in terms of skill, Ryan's not as skilled as Devin. He doesn't compete at the same level as Devin.
It's a foregone conclusion, at least to me, that Devin beats him.
And as strange as that might sound, that's why I like the Romero fight or the Isaac Cruz fight for Ryan a little better, because with those fights, it's up in the air. Maybe Isaac knocks out Ryan, maybe Ryan knocks out Isaac, maybe Rolly knocks out Ryan, maybe Ryan knocks out Rolly. You follow me?
It's intriguing. It's not a foregone conclusion. Even if you like Ryan's chances against Rolly, Rolly is retarded.
It's hard. Hard enough that if he lands flush, if he lands a clean one on Ryan, Ryan might go down. Ryan might go out. The same applies to Isaac Cruz, and that makes for a more competitive fight and a more intriguing fight, whereas with Devin,
You kind of already know what's gonna happen.
I liken it to the difference between Arturo Gatti versus Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti versus Floyd Mayweather. Arturo Gatti versus Mickey Ward, their first fight, which turned out to be a trilogy, because both guys are limited, you got a classic out of it, a real barn burner, real dust-up, real Donnybrook. Whereas Arturo Gatti versus Floyd Mayweather, that was anything but competitive. That was just a one-sided affair, a lopsided beating.
Not intriguing. A signature performance from Floyd, yes, but kinda knew already going in that Floyd was gonna beat the hell out of the guy.
So when I think about Ryan and Devin, as opposed to Ryan and Rolly, well, Ryan and Rolly are both limited fighters. Maybe either guy could beat either guy, but I don't have a doubt in my mind. Ryan can't beat Devin.
You understand?
This is not me poo-pooing all over this fight, this proposition, this potentiality that these two kids may end up fighting at some point in April. If they make the fight, then I'll buy the fight and I'll watch the fight and give Ryan credit for taking on Devin where Gervonta Davis wouldn't park his car next to him.
It's not me poo-pooing all over the fight. It's just saying that this fight don't have the same air of intrigue as another fight because it's kind of already established. Devin's on another level to Ryan.
This entire conversation may turn out to be much ado about nothing because I reiterate, between now and April, this thing could fall apart. Ryan is unstable.
But if he takes the fight and they do the fight, yeah, I'll give Ryan credit. I'll give Ryan credit for going through with it. I think he deserves that much, though I don't have any illusions about what will happen once the opening bell sounds.
Not completely sure what Devin Haney's promotional situation is. Is he still in bed with Matchroom? Because if he is, that could be a potential hindrance. I don't think Oscar wants to have to work with Eddie on any fight if he doesn't have to. Is Devin still in bed with Matchroom, or is he a network and promotional free agent? Because if he is, then he can just go over to Golden Boy and let Oscar run the show. Let it be a Golden Boy promotion show. What difference does it make to him? Same way that he went to Top Rank to secure a George Kambosos fight, he can go to Golden Boy to secure a Ryan Garcia fight. Though if he does have to win emphatically. If you go to a Golden Boy promotion show for Ryan Garcia, you have to make it decisive. You have to make it emphatic.
The same way he did in Australia 2 times with George. I suppose that's why I'm so confident in him, because he has experiences like that to draw from, whereas Ryan doesn't.
I see a lot of people poo-poo all over Devin Haney's undisputed run, saying that of all the undisputed champions that have been crowned in the last 5 years, his run was the weakest one. And I understand that, but point me in the direction of a fighter that Ryan Garcia beat as good as George Kambosos.
Not because George is so good, but because Ryan's resume isn't.
Context is key. He's the best guy that Ryan Garcia beat. How does that guy, whoever it is, stack up with George Kambosos? In truth, we shouldn't have to wonder, and we shouldn't have to speculate. The fact that we do drives the point home, that Ryan doesn't compete on the same level as Devin. Comparing one guy's undisputed run to another is one thing, and comparing Ryan's resume to Devin's, that's quite another. So I'm quite confident that if they make the fight, if they actually make the fight, gets done, both guys are in the ring and the opening bell sounds, Devin likely wins a lopsided decision behind the jab.
Devin knows who he is as a fighter. His identity. He's more settled in, whereas Ryan, he's more or less still experimenting with trainers.
So credit to him for taking the fight if he does take the fight, but I think he loses.